Hello. Well, this is Earl Purdy, and I'm here with you today to do another course in a Miracles lesson. I'm going to do another course in Miracles lesson with you. And today's course in Miracles lesson is there is nothing to fear. 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 Lesson 48. In A Course in Miracles, lesson 48, there is nothing to fear. The idea for today, there is nothing to fear, simply states a fact. But that there is nothing to fear, it is not a fact to those who believe in illusions. To those who believe in their fears, it's not a fact that there is nothing to fear. But illusions, which are false ideas, are not facts. In truth, there is nothing to fear. In reality, I know it may not look like it's that way, but in reality, as God created it, there is nothing to fear. And it's very easy to recognize this, that there is nothing to fear. But it's very difficult to recognize that there is nothing to fear for those who want their fears or illusions to be true. If you want that problem to be true, if you want that fear to be true, if you want that illusion to be true, then it's very difficult to recognize that it is not true, that it is not real. Today's practice periods will be very short, very simple, and very frequent. Very short, very simple, and very frequent. The practice periods should be very short, very simple, and very frequent. Merely repeat the idea as often as possible. That's your exercise for today. Just repeat the idea. There's nothing to fear as often as possible. There's nothing to be afraid of. That's the idea today. There's nothing to be afraid of. There's nothing to be afraid of. There's nothing to fear. There's nothing to fear. There's nothing to fear. It is strongly recommended that you repeat this idea, there's nothing to fear, as often as possible. And also you can use the idea, there's nothing to fear, with your eyes open at any time, and in any situations you can use the idea, there is nothing to fear. It's strongly recommended, however, that you take a minute or so whenever possible to close your eyes and repeat the idea slowly to yourself several times. There is nothing to fear. It is particularly important that you use the idea immediately. There is nothing to fear. Should anything disturb your peace of mind, use this idea immediately. Use it immediately. If anything disturbs your peace of mind, use this idea immediately. If anything disturbs your peace of mind. The presence of fear is a sure sign that you are trusting in your own strength, separate from God. The presence of fear is a sure sign you are trusting in your own strength. The presence of fear, if you are afraid, it's a sure sign you're trusting in your own strength. The awareness that there's nothing to fear shows that somewhere in your mind, though not necessarily in a place you recognize it yet, you have remembered God. And that means you've let God take the place of your weakness wherever you are not afraid. The instant you are willing to let God take the place of your ego, let God take the place of your fear, let God take the place of your weakness, the instant you are willing to do this, there is indeed nothing to fear. So we're just going to do the exercise. I'm going to take about a minute, and I'm going to say it with you, and it's supposed to be your response to anything that comes up today that upsets you in any way. There is nothing to fear. 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 There is nothing to fear in this situation. There is nothing to fear in that circumstance. There is nothing to fear in that situation. There is nothing to fear. There is nothing to fear. There is nothing to fear. There is nothing to be afraid of. There's nothing to be afraid of. There's nothing to be afraid of. There's nothing to be afraid of. There is nothing to be afraid of. There is nothing to be afraid of. There is nothing to fear. 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 Okay, that's it. That's your lesson for today. That's the idea to use today. And forward this video to other friends that you feel like may benefit from it, and recognize that You can also get more of my classes and teachings at earlpurdy.com. And let peace extend from my mind and my heart to yours.